This week's sermon is based on Rabbi Sachs's Covenant and Conversation for 5777 entitled The Jewish Journey. It's in this essay that Rabbi Sachs asks, why is it that Yaakov Abinu is recognized as the father of our nation? We are called the congregation of Yaakov, the people or the nation of Israel. We are named after him. Rabbi Sachs recognizes that Yaakov is perhaps the most human of all of our forefathers. Abraham was a man who lived completely and entirely in his faith. He gave everything, including prepared to give his own son to God. Yitzhak was a man who lived in seclusion. He, for all intents and purposes, became the sacrifice that he almost was. And so he was dedicated to being a holy offering to God in his life. Yaakov is most like us. He struggles. He has heights and he has depths. He wishes to be able to live a life of peace and pleasantness. And at every point where that possibly can come to him, he is challenged with the loss of a son, the loss of a beloved wife, issues with his family and children. And oftentimes in his deepest depths, he is raised to the highest heights. He sees God at the top of a ladder, looking down at him, promising to protect him. God protects him in the times that he is in the greatest despair. Rabbi Sachs says that in this we come to understand that for us, for the people of Israel, journey is the nature of our lives. That we are really never able to sit completely whole, completely at peace, completely intact with ourselves and with our relationship to God. It is a constant movement. It is a constant struggle. And that struggle that we read about this week in Parashat Vayishlach, that Yaakov has with this God, man, angel, whatever it is that we see it from the perspective from which we look at it, Yaakov recognizes that his life is defined by journey, by movement, by struggle, in the sense that he is never really able to just be. And that, in a sense, means that, in the words of Rabbi Sachs, the Jewish people are never fully, completely at home in the world. Even the land that is our home, we are reminded by the Torah that it is owned by God, and that we are citizens, but at the same time sojourners with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There is something in this that I would like to recognize this week. Something about the fact that we are constantly a journeying people, a sojourning people, a people that find that the nature of rest never really stays for us. It eludes us. One of the reasons for that is something that I would like to speak with you about this week. And that is our relationship to the nature of truth. And for that matter, reality. It connects back to our relationship with God, because we believe that God is the ultimate truth. God is the ultimate reality. And the reason why our people have been and continue to be dedicated to discovering what is true in this world, what is real in this world. It is the reason why our people prefer questions that cannot be answered to answers that cannot be questioned. We will always live in the question. We will always look to discover. And the reason for that is because ultimately our people were founded in a covenant with God. And we understood, whether in our conscious mind or deep within our soul, that to seek truth is essentially to seek closeness with God. To live in what is real is to live in the divine. And that means for us that as the world, we must never stand still. The world is in constant motion. The nature of reality constantly developing and unfolding before us. It is itself a journey. The discovery of truth is in itself a path that we walk. We find this then to mean that the Jewish people can never really hold onto comforts, that the Jewish people can never really hold onto securities, because at one point those comforts or securities will need to be compromised for our need to engage in truth and reality. And so we must choose as a people Do we prefer our feelings of security, or do we rather our journey of truth? And oftentimes, the two simply cannot coexist. In that, it also means that we are vulnerable, because we cannot build fortresses in this world behind which we can hide. We must always be engaged, ready to develop, ready to move, ready to be opened to the truths that we once knew, being left for the truths that we now have discovered and recognized must replace the old ones. For us, reality is always comprised of working definitions, and that as those things move, we move with it. It means that at our core, we are a vulnerable people, because we prefer truth and reality. We prefer the openness to being proved wrong, the movement through needing to relinquish securities, and constantly moving forward to where it is that the world